Excitement is building in the lead-up to the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra's unveiling at Samsung Unpacked 2023 on February 1. And as a camera aficionado, I'm particularly interested in the 200 megapixels main sensor that's rumored to debut on the smartphone, which could help it deliver even greater photographic versatility than the S22 Ultra. Samsung has already produced a 200 megapixel sensor, the Isocell HP1, that is used by the Motorola Edge 30 Ultra and Xiaomi 12T Pro, but you can't find one in a Samsung handset yet. The S23 Ultra is rumored to debut the next iteration of this 200 megapixel sensor, the Isocell HP2 chip that Samsung recently shared a lot of insightful info about. In short, the S23 Ultra is touted as the most significant Galaxy camera upgrade in 5 years, and on paper it should replace the S22 Ultra as offering the best camera phone experience to date. Yet 200 million pixels isn't necessarily the most interesting feature of the flagship S23 Ultra's potential camera. There's a bunch of new tech packed into this sensor that should benefit color reproduction, dynamic range, and autofocus power, among other things. So strap in as we unpack the potential implications of the new sensor being used in the S23 Ultra and what to expect. 200 million pixels is one heck of a selling point and a heck of a lot of pixels, almost twice the amount as the 108 megapixels Isocell M3 in the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. To put that in context, the highest resolution on a mainstream professional camera is currently 100 megapixels and 61 megapixels for a full-frame camera like the Sony A7RV, and these are serious cameras with huge sensors. And rather than asking, do I even need all those pixels? After all, most people aren't going to produce huge printed images from their smartphone. Demonstrated in this Samsung ad, the question is instead, how does Samsung maximize the quality of the camera for real day-to-day use? The broad answer is that the sensor is doing a lot behind the scenes. Pixel binning is a term you'll quickly become familiar with when reading up on smartphones with a lot of pixels across their camera arrays. The iPhone 14 Pro has a 48 megapixels main camera and pixel bins 4:1, resulting in a 12 megapixels image resolution by default. The new Isocell HP2 sensor offers adaptive pixel binning at 4:1 and 16:1, resulting in 50 megapixels and 12.5 megapixels images from that 200 megapixel sensor, depending on the shooting scenario. For reference, the S22 Ultra pixel binning is 9:1 from the 108 megapixel sensor, resulting in 12 megapixels images. Why is pixel size important? It affects the amount of light gathered by the sensor and impacts image quality. The larger the pixel, the more light gathered, the better the image quality in low light at the least. So the S23 Ultra's potential 200 megapixels main camera will gather huge amounts of detail in bright light and adapt to lower resolutions in dim conditions to get better quality but lower resolution images. The best of both worlds in theory. The S23 Ultra should also be a more capable snapper for action. Samsung again claims that its new camera has half the shutter lag, twice the shooting speed at 15 FPS, and also phase detection autofocus for every single pixel, rather than just 3% of the pixels like in the S22 Ultra. So overall, we can expect a much more capable camera for capturing crisp action sequences. What is less clear about the sensor info we have before launch is its potential impact on the phone's ultra space zoom functionality. The Galaxy S22 Ultra boasts a 3x and 10x optical zoom, plus the 30x to 100x ultra space zoom, which is a lesser quality digital zoom. The quality of a digital zoom decreases the more you zoom in, primarily because you're heavily cropping into the image at the top of the zoom range. But if more pixels are added into the equation, potentially almost twice the amount in this case, then ultra space zoom on this generation should, in theory, be twice the quality. We're yet to see what lenses will feature in the S23 Ultra. Will there be the same telephoto periscope lens options? But the simple understanding is that the 200 megapixel sensor could improve telephoto photography no end. The proof will be in the pudding, but leaked images taken with the S23 camera have started to surface that appear to demonstrate decent low light and zoom capabilities. And I haven't even mentioned the improved video spec, with 8K now up to 30 with 4:1 pixel binning, the 50 megapixels image. Certainly, after reading up the tech going into this new sensor and how it'll translate to the S23 Ultra's camera experience, it sounds amazing on paper, and I, for one, can't wait to take the camera for a spin and see what it's capable of. So stay tuned to the channel for more Galaxy news, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See you for the next time. Peace out.